Welcome to Mic'd and Medicated.
And this is our first rodeo.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw!
Hello and welcome to Mic'd and Medicated.
Today is June 2nd, and it is actually sunny for the first day in about a week, I feel like. I'm finally getting rid of that seasonal affect disorder. I was getting depressed, man.
Right. It's not like living in Alaska, but nonetheless, we were experiencing winter last week.
I mean, it's
a
ready.
Resurgence of winter.
I'm ready for summer. I mean, because I can't believe it's already June. I still feel like it's February. When did it become June? I just don't remember.
June gloom.
All of a sudden you showed up.
Without any notice and we're fucked.
And Eva hasn't filled out her camp forms. And there might not be time for a parade with horns.
June gloom.
Field day, recitals, graduation. Even if you're only in second grade. Bum, 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 bum. Why do we have to celebrate everything? Why do we have to be everywhere? I'm one person. I wish I was like a worm and I could cut myself
and
regenerate. Or I wish I had an identical twin and I'm off tune, but June gloom.
Our kids are standing there alone, not dressed appropriately and without lunch.
because of their short pants, because of how much they have grown.
Oh, and how time has flown. I think we have to stop singing because I'm not sure we're still singing June Gloom. I don't know what tune we're singing.
It was supposed to be, for those of you who don't know, is Blue Moon. What every parent really does need, except me, I'm celiac, is a blue moon, like the beer.
Actually, I wanted tequila.
I'm not
that
either.
Took me a moment.
I mean, honestly, it should be like June rolls around. It should be like, okay, let me send every parent a box of tequila or their alcohol of choice, because it is impossible to follow up with every single detail. First of all, I don't even know where to find out my information.
I just have to say, this year, a lot of people have been talking about May-cember, and I'm like, May-cember? And I don't think, maybe people just come off the high of May, because I feel like May is a pretty happy, you're looking forward, summer's in the air, and the next thing you know,
April showers bring May flowers.
Right. And then all of a sudden, June is like record stops, the routine ends, and all of a sudden it's this abyss where you're home with your children. And if you haven't signed up for all the mini camps, which is a whole nother issue, you have no idea how to entertain them, or they have no idea how to entertain themselves, or they want to relax, but somehow you feel this anxiety in the pit of your stomach that maybe too much relaxation is not a good thing. And when you're looking at them on screen, because it's been 27 hours.
I mean, look, it's hard. I think actually what just kind of came through my mind is that June is really, it's sort of how every life stage is with kids. You know, you get comfortable, like when they're babies, right? It's like you just figured it out. And then they're like, oh, no more swaddle. Here's like the crazy suit thing they put them on. And they're like, okay, I'm just getting the bottle routine. And they're like, solids. You know, it's like sort of by end of May, it's like, okay, now I've got the whole system going. We have a routine. And then it's like, oh, summer.
Right. But I agree. Everything with children is phasal, but that also works to your
analogy.
Right. But what I was going to say is that also works to your advantage, because if they're going through a phase that's maybe not so attractive or easy, you're like, oh, this too shall pass. Whereas June every year repeats. And for some reason, every year I'm flat footed, and it's always this very hard year. And I think especially if you work outside the home, it can be challenging, because if you don't have redundancy built into the system, all of a sudden you have 2, 3, however many kids you have, and you have to sort of orchestrate something for them to do. And it's fine. Like a week, 2 weeks sitting home. I was always a fan, like decompress, lay on the couch, watch TV shows. I'm a huge fan of that. But by week 3, you start to really feel like, okay, there's some rotting going on in my home.
I think I know the answer. It's public school. because the more right, the more money we pay, the less school we have. So if my kids were in public school, they'd be done like you'd have to pull them out to go to camp.
Right. So the answer is either public school or pay more money to put them in these mini camps in between. I'm still doing
that. But by the way, it's like every week is changing. My daughter's at like an applause week, this camp, and then next week is nothing. And then it's I camp. And everyone has their own routine, their own drop-off times, their own pickup times. It's like
and
insane.
They all have their own forms.
And if they don't have forms, then you don't want your kid to go there because then you're like, wow, that's scary.
Well, no, I was going to say the opposite. Like, why do you need to submit help forms if it's like a 9 to 11 a.m. program for a week?
Because there are something called psychotic anti-vaxxers, and you do not want somebody in your group who might not be vaccinated for the measles. But if they're enrolled in school, you would think that the school would have already done their due diligence. So I think you're right. Why do we have to do more forms? It's so annoying. And then it's like packing more extra clothes and it's so many things to show up to. And I think it all really falls on, I feel, the mom, because like, I think my husband can get away with not having to show up at everything. And I feel like I have to be in 800 places at once, put on a smile, celebrate everything. And then when it's happening, it's like somebody has a meltdown. It's this idea of this perfect, celebrating end of pre-K and this next milestone starting. And like, it's just everyone's screaming. It's sugar high, too much cake. It's just a disaster.
That's a lot to unpack.
Sorry. I think I just had a verbal diarrhea.
No, I loved it. And I would say this is where it comes in handy if you've married somebody who's very social, because I really find this time of year, I do a lot of forwarding of emails to Doug saying, hey, do you want to stop by? Do you want to represent? And
can I do that can Doug go for me?
Just send him to Doug. He's very social. He likes to say hi to people.
Doug showed up for my second grade celebration. I don't know why, but it was weird.
Right.
No problem. Or a girls' dinner that I tried to cancel 3 times. Like, hey, this random guy, Doug, says he's you today.
And Doug's like, hey,
martinis for all.
Right, exactly. No, but what I was going to say is it's not just the logistical gymnastics, but it's also such an emotional time. And I think this is when, at least for me, reality and fantasy collide, and I'm most disappointed because I think of, oh my God, we're going to have this great graduation. The whole family's going to be dressed up. We're going to get those photos. I haven't had photos of us all together in a while.
We're going to all wear press khakis.
And then we're going to go to lunch and like everyone's going to be in this happy mood, smiling. The day of never materializes the way I expect. And I think we put so much pressure on these times of year.
Also the anxiety.
It's a lot of pressure for them too.
Oh God, no. Oh no, we've got dogs. Oh God. I can't. Okay. Well, oh my God. I thought I heard them scratching. Okay. Well, sorry for the dogs panting. I don't know if we can get rid of that, but this is our life right now. This is just a crazy clusterfuck.
Should we just keep going?
Let's just keep going with that.
So what I was going to say is it's not what I was going to say.
Shh. Sorry, not you, Eva. You keep talking.
Wait,
oh my God, they're crazy. Okay.
No, what I was going to say is it's like this very emotional time and you want to be present and you're thinking about, marking this moment of the end of whether it's a big year like 8th grade or senior
my
year.
daughter who finished pre-K.
Right. Those are big years. Like, I don't know why we're, celebrating 2nd grade, but the big ones I get. But then the day comes and I feel like the less important, more superficial stresses overtake and then you're not present in the moment. So your kids, like you said earlier, you realize your kids outgrew their one suit. So they're not dressed properly or, one of your kids is in a foul mood and doesn't want to smile for the picture. Oh, I have a tip for that.
What is it? I think our listeners would love to know. From the parenting expert, Eva Heyman. Let's hear it.
I don't know. Right. I'm UnExpert.
That's true.
So I'm just sharing my personal experience. But it is so challenging to get my family to all smile for a photo. And for whatever reason, for years and years, it really mattered to me. I wanted to capture
you want a photo. I get it.
Right. So I realized that the only way was to do something so outrageous and unexpected that I would just sort of catch them off guard and they would start laughing.
So
and
saying
I would get
cheese
really
doesn't work with the Heyman family?
No, cheese doesn't work.
So
and
what
I've tried
saying?
all the other dumb things. So I'm just like, fuck, shit, cunt, asshole.
Nice.
And then literally all my kids hysterically laugh because I actually never curse with them. So
what do people like bystanders think when like the C word comes out?
Honestly, by that point, they know I'm crazy because I've tried 8 ways to Sunday to be like, please, please, can't you just sit for this one picture? Can't you just please? And I'm begging.
And also I find the better dressed everybody is and the better everybody looks, the more chances you have of not getting a photo.
Right.
You know,
right.
when there's ketchup on the outfits and, you know, they look like shit and they're in hand-me-downs and it's just, you look like a disaster, like you put your hand in a socket.
Right.
Great photo.
Or the one time you finally get everybody dressed and you're all together, you get like the one person who doesn't know how to use an iPhone and the photos suck.
Oh, that's true. And it's like from the angle where you look obese, you know, from like the downward angle.
Or
you're like,
so
seriously, I have one chin.
You're like, wait, I actually wanted to see our faces.
People are such assholes. But you know what? Also talking about the emotional part, because it is. And then I find that like I love my husband, but he's also a man. So when I'm super emotional about my daughter graduating pre-K, either he doesn't allow himself to process it, but he doesn't really empathize that it's emotional for me because I'm the primary caretaker. So it's like my role of this chapter is sort of changing and like in a big way. I've been in nursery school for 6 years. You know, not that my daughter has issues. I had an older son. So, you know, it is hard. And then it's like the phone makes it worse. And I was reading this article. Someone wrote an article about June. I loved this. The social media algorithm also has me in a chokehold. Anytime I open my phone, I'm reminded how the end of the school year means they are a little bit bigger than they were last year. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to process that it somehow isn't February anymore. Yeah. And that really sums up that, you know, you take those signs and first day of school and last day of school. And there's so much, as you said, like anxiety about all the logistics that you're sort of missing what it's about. But I don't know how to switch gears because it's impossible to keep up with everything.
Well, it's funny. It's so true what they say. The days are long and the years are short. To your point, I was always so anxious and I was always trying to manage around a meeting I had to miss or a deliverable that was weighing on my head when I went to these events that I was never fully present. And I think that's the trick, not just to June, but to all of life. Although it's particularly meaningful and it's easy to feel guilty in June when all of these special celebrations are happening, that it's just so freaking hard. We live in these crazy, busy, always on worlds and you're being communicated with across like a bazillion channels. You have all these inputs. It's overstimulation, like to the nth degree.
I agree.
So you're always worrying about like what happened in the past, what's happening in the future. And I just, now that I haven't, you know, my son will be 19 in a few weeks.
Oh my God.
And
wasn't I just 19? That's how I also feel. Like what?
Right. It's crazy. So you can, on the one hand, do what I did for a little while, which is berate myself about like all the things I would do differently, or you can just make peace. And I'm a huge believer in repair. It is never too late to start behaving or start engaging and operating in a new way. And I think we really have a lot more power over our mindset than we think.
Jeremy, my husband, who, you know, can sometimes be very sagacious. Is that the right way of saying it? Yeah. Very wise.
Yeah. Sage works too.
And, he will say, you know, every second is a chance to turn it around. You know, it's every passing second you have that ability to decide. And I think first of all, I think also the iPhone is such a double-edged sword. It's like, because we're able to document everything, I think as moms, like we've all done this, where you can just go on your iPhone and start scrolling and looking back and being like, oh, was I enjoying that moment? Was I present? Oh my God, look how little they were, you know? And it's just hard. And I think you just have to move forward and say, okay, I know that every time this is how I feel. Every June, I feel overwhelmed like a chicken with my head cut off. And then all of a sudden it's August and you're like, oh, did I enjoy the summer? So I'm like, I'm really going to try to not worry. Like, what's the worst thing? As long as I show up to the 3,000 events that my kids need me to show up for, what does it matter if anything else is canceled, right? I'll just miss other things.
I remember vividly that moment where I was behind the camera filming my son at karate and thinking, I'm not in the experience. So I think just definitionally, when you're behind a screen watching the event take place, it's really different than actually being in the moment, just humanly being there and experiencing the moment.
There's actually an amazing Louis C.K. video, and it's a great joke. I'll try to find it, where he's he's saying like, does anybody watch their kid in the 3D anymore? No, because they're going to the ballet recital and it's 2D. They're watching through the screen.
Yes.
And it's like, are you really going to fucking watch that video of your kid playing a recorder where you want to blow your brains out? Like, no, like just enjoy it.
Yes.
So I have a strategy where I try to take a video, but I'm not looking through the video. So usually it's just the wall. He's like,
I was about to say, I've tried that, but then you're like in your head, like, wait, is the video actually working?
Right. So, and I don't need 50 of the videos.
Right.
But
you also learn through each kid. I feel like with George, we have so much footage and so many photographs.
Always
and
like the first
25 photographs of one moment. And it then just becomes paralyzing because you go back and you actually don't know which of the 25 is the best one because they're all so similar.
Oh my God. If you looked on my phone, it is like, if you are an indecisive person, it is your worst nightmare.
Yes.
It is like, somebody once gave me good advice. If you're going to delete some of the bad photos, do it right in that moment, like, which is impossible because your kid's like pulling at you or whatever, because otherwise it's like all old photos and you don't want to get rid of them. But I have 50 of like my kid doing something that it almost looks like
it's imperceptible, the differences.
Right. How you used to make a cartoon book where like it would flip.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, I mean,
yes.
It's insane.
I think the trick in life is figuring out what your values are, what matters to you, who matters to you, and then living by those values in terms of using them as a filter or a, set of criteria by which to make decisions about how to spend your time.
Yeah. I mean, I love the pillow that's right here. I am RSVPing as pending. I would say that is my MO. And I can do that for everything except my kids, because I really do have to be at the second grade art show or the second grade celebration or the pre-K graduation or, those are the things I can. So you're right. I'll just say no to everything else. Kind of digging my Phoebe Buffet sexy voice right now.
I
feel like
have we really reached a point in talking where like,
no, but
you've lost your voice?
Smelly cat, what are they feeding you? Smelly.
Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm totally fine.
But wait, about the RSV pending, I guess maybe that works for you. I find that when
I don't think people like it.
Well, not even about what other people mind, but if I don't decide, the indecision weighs on me. So I actually have started to try to be more decisive where early on I just make a call and stick to it. It's really hard to do. I'm not
like that.
Perfect, but when you just RSVP is pending, it doesn't bug you that all these things are kind of like open options?
Yes, of course. My brain is like an open Safari tabs of like 100 tabs. Or I'm like, should I do that?
Right. And a computer basically crashes when that happens.
Yeah. But like, you know what? I'm now learning. And as we're talking about it, I'm thinking about it. If it's not for my kids or something super important, right? And I'm like, not sure about it, I probably don't want to go.
Then why not just RSVP no?
You're right. I should. I think because you know what? People have a really hard time hearing no.
Yes. Why is that? Why is it so hard? But here's the thing.
Self-importance. I think people
have sort of an easy time saying no. Sometimes Doug says I'm too kind of honest and direct about that. But I sort of feel like people can plan better if they know whether you're coming or not.
Right. But I guess part of me doesn't want to have to deal with it's funny, actually, the way I am, I think in my social life is sort of how my husband is with me. Of like, like not giving me these like concrete answers because he doesn't want to be held to something if he has to change it. Cause I'm like the psycho friend who's like, you said you're going to be there. What do you mean you're not coming home till 5:00? What do you mean you're traveling Tuesday? But like, it's acceptable. I'm the wife, but I don't like that like friends.
Yes, I agree.
Will act like that. And that makes me.
Why aren't you coming?
Ugh, I have so much JOMO.
Oh my God. Yes. I mean,
I just saw a new thing. It's called ROMO.
What's ROMO?
Relief of missing out.
Oh, I have JOMO and ROMO.
Yeah. I have JOMO, ROMO, and zero FOMO. I think for me, it's like my family always comes first, not just my kids, but like if my parents are in town or that, like I'll just cancel on anybody. Or if like my aunt's visiting, I just cancel on anybody. So I have certain people who are blood related to me that it's like, that's it.
But I would argue you then are very clear about your values and you live by them. I think for so long, I didn't really, I don't know, I wasn't really sure how to make decisions. And now I've gotten much better and more clear on who I am. And it becomes much easier. It's almost like in the business world, like when you have a company, you have to define what is our purpose, what is our mission. And then you have to make sure that like the set of values that underpin that come through in everything you do. And you have to make decisions, whether it's strategy decisions, people decisions, based on those values. And I think it's the same as like on a personal level, but I think to this point of like, we're all chickens with our heads cut off and we're running around, and especially during the month of June where there's so much going on, not just for our kids,
You're like hyperventilating.
but there are a lot of, there are a lot of demands on us, I think socially and as adults.
Oh my God.
And so I think if you don't get really clear on what the priorities are, you can end up missing the whole thing. And then you're right. You wake up, it's August and your kids are going back to school and you're wondering like, what do we do this summer?
Yeah, I think it's living in 2025 is super complicated. I feel like I was just in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm excited for summer. We're going to have like less scheduled stuff. My dad's like texting me. He's like, all right, there's a golf clinic 3 days a week at this time. I'm going to take Teddy. It's like, can I just like breathe? Like, we have to have so much freaking scheduling for everything? It's like, I can't even, it's like suffocating. I need to have room. There's like this perfect medium. It's sort of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's like, you can't have nothing because then you'll just kill yourself because your kids will be literally, you know, eating out of a peanut butter jar and hanging from the rafters, or I don't have rafters, but you know, chandeliers. And then there's way too much scheduling where you're like, I feel like I'm running a machine. So like, where's that middle ground where they're like entertained enough? There's enough breathing room, time to recharge. I mean, it's just so hard. I think also the RSVP as pending has been made so easy because of a cell phone. Like I remember saying to my grandparents, who obviously when they were dating in the 1950s, like you had a home phone, but you didn't have a cell phone. You didn't have a way to change your plan.
Right.
And I would be like, how did you guys make plans? And they're like, well, you made a plan and you stuck to it. And if someone didn't come, they stood you up. You were literally standing up, waiting. And like you just stood up and no one came. Or you stood up waiting at the door and they didn't open. Like,
in some ways, that's why I adore going to Bedford, because I do feel like my home is new enough there and I still haven't brought my life to it, that when I go, it feels very free, relaxing. I wake up, I have a cup of coffee. I don't see any papers or mail on the counters.
Let's be real, Eva. Were you going to open that mail anyway?
No, I never
Yeah, I
open
don't
the
either.
mail.
I
It
give it
drives
to my
Doug
husband.
bonkers.
I can't do it. My brain doesn't do that.
But I have really, since I turned 50, I've been trying to figure out how to simplify my life. I'm at a place where I want to savor every minute with my kids because I already have one out of the house and I see how quickly it goes. Like you don't really realize it till the first one goes to college. And then you become acutely aware that they're all fleeing the nest at some point and it's coming sooner rather than later.
Do you wish you had more than 3?
No, like back in the day, I would have had a 4th, and Doug
That's
always
insane.
said, like, with another husband, you'll have a 4th.
That's
and
what my
now
husband
I'm
says
so
about the
glad.
3rd.
Yeah. No matter how many children you have, you feel it.
They're going to grow up. I mean, unless you
Right.
have, you know, or Irish Catholic having like banging them out. Like
Right. But I do feel like when you're in that dense period of parenting, when they're young and like the logistical needs are so great, it's almost easy to ignore all the emotional feelings because you're so consumed by making sure everybody gets where they get and that they're safe and they've got the food and they've got, you know, the pickup. And I think when they get older and they become independent and they don't need you for the logistics, you free up the time to start thinking about all the emotional stuff. And of course, you know, small people, small problems, big people, big problems. But beyond that, I just think you all of a sudden start to see the future in front of you where they are out of the house and they don't need you. And
I mean, look, I feel that just in terms of like going into, you know, now she's going into kindergarten, but my daughter, you know, 2 years ago, it was like taking her to a dance class. She would not leave my arms, you know, she was hanging on. And I was like, really, it wasn't like, oh, this is sweet. I was like losing my mind because all the other kids were like going right in, which was also why June became a harder month for me because I had finally gotten to the point where like all the activities we were doing was actually, we were working and then the routine would be thrown off. And now it's like, I'll take her to a new place and she just goes right in. And there's that relief in me, but there's a little part of me that misses her, like being like a little, I don't know how you would describe it, like just like a little monkey clinging on me. And I do think the other gloomy thing about June is because you feel the passage of time, you're like, wait, when you're in your childbearing years, which you could be, you could not be, but I still.
that's very kind of you.
I don't know. But like, I have that window of like, I'd still would be a geriatric pregnancy, which is kind of crazy.
Excuse you. I was 38 when I had Eleanor.
Yeah. And over 35, you're geriatric.
I think if you've already had.
No, you're
kids.
geriatric. I'm telling you. So anyway,
that's crazy.
Yeah. I'd be I mean, you're supposed to have kids when you're 14.
No, I understand. Well, I think it's more like 21, right?
No, it's like after you're menstruating.
I don't think you're supposed to have them when you're 14.
I'm not meaning like to have society contributing humans. I'm saying your physical body it's probably the easiest. No teen pregnancies. Okay. Anybody listening? All right. No, I do not.
No,
like
but
that.
I agree with you, like 21 to 26. But I think we've become kind of crazy in our society. Not crazy, but I just think a lot of people delay it because they think of parenting as this slog and they want to enjoy their 20s and they want to build a career and do these other things.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I agree. Don't do that. I don't know anyone who doesn't say, I wish I waited.
No one says that because
everyone says the opposite. I wish I had kids sooner.
Especially, first of all, you never, I don't know how we're getting on this topic, but you never know how long it's going to take you to try. You never know if you want to space them out or have them quickly. You don't want the pressure of that. But anyway, what I was going to say is now I'm 37 and my oldest is almost 9 and my little one is 5. I could still technically, God willing, like get pregnant and have a kid. And so I'm like, shit, like, do I do it? It's June. Like, oh my God, I don't have a nursery school anymore. And you feel that. I'm like really not sure, even though I know I do not want it. I don't want to be fat again. I like having what I consider a hot bod for my age. Not necessarily, it's not a catwalk bod, but it's like, it works for me. And, I don't want to go through all that postpartum craziness. And I know I couldn't give this is my 4th baby. My 3rd baby is the dog, but I want to give so much to this podcast and I want to give as much as I can to my kids, myself, my husband, and adding another one just would not work.
I admit I love every minute of being pregnant. I love every minute of nursing. It is a big factor. And
that's 2 years of your life.
Right. And I would do that again in a heartbeat.
Want to do it for me?
Well, I have offered a friend to do it who was having trouble getting pregnant. Doug was like, would you like to talk with me about it before you offer to carry somebody else's baby?
That's so funny.
But I feel like it's such a mitzvah and I would have been happy to because I love being pregnant.
Yeah, no. The good thing is, at least with my husband, he's like, no third. So I feel like when you're questioning it and your spouse is like, no, it makes it an easier decision.
Right.
I don't really want it.
Look, I love it. I would never change it. But there are some things that are just easier, like chairlifts, going in taxis in Europe.
Did you hear what you just sound? I mean, can we just talk about how pretentious you sound right now? I'm going to do a lockjaw voice. Eva said that if you don't have a 3rd child, it would be, a chairlift is so much easier when you're skiing in Courchevel, and taxis in Europe are very difficult with the 3rd. I mean, that is not real life shit. All right. Most people are like, oh man, that's 3 private schools or
that too,
but you're like, the chairlift would not work.
Well, it's kind of crazy and we are a little off topic, but why not?
I mean, we don't have to be on a topic. It's not an essay. This is not our paper. When
Doug was growing up in New York City, and maybe it was like this when you were growing up, to have a 3rd kid was the luxury. Like that was...
It's a status symbol.
A status symbol. Now a status symbol is having 5 kids.
That's fucking insane. I don't care if I had $20 billion. I'm not being pregnant and breastfeeding 5 times. There's just no way. I would literally be in Payne Whitney.
I think there's a gift you give your children of having siblings and growing up with that big family vibe. But I do think in terms of being able to give everyone what they need, especially because in New York City, it's not a sure thing at all that your kids are going to go to the same school. So you've got tons of competing schedules. So when June rolls around, it must be a nightmare if you've got 4 kids at 4 different schools, which I know people that do that.
But maybe like I've heard it's so much chaos that you're just like, fuck it. I guarantee none of these people are like, fuck it. They're all A-type crazies. I don't know. It's really hard. I mean, I can barely get my shit together. I'm not really sure how people do it. I think my brain would literally just like blow up. Like
I feel like my brain blows up every June.
And you're like, you haven't even sent your camp forms in. You're not like crushing it.
It's right. No, I'm certainly not crushing it. But I just feel like the emotional toll of the passage of time, the physical stress and anxiety of, on the one hand, wanting your kids to relax, on the other hand, feeling very unsettled when it's been, 12 straight hours of the iPhone or the TV. And then realizing, because you're not on top of it, that the class that everyone's taking, there are no more spots in, or you don't have any play dates for your kids because everybody else decided a month ago to plan outings with their nannies. And so I do feel like I come out of June very battered, and I don't feel like I've appreciated or been present or been able to enjoy it.
Yeah, I know. I think this podcast is going to make us remember, and anybody listening to it, like take 10 minutes and just be like, okay, I'm going to savor this and I'm going to enjoy it. But like, if it's the wrong moment, who cares? Like, then find another one. Like doesn't have to be perfect. By the way, this is why I like January and February and those long wintry months. Cause like some of my fondest memories are like just being cozy with my kids watching a movie versus like this, like a scheduled, picnic with a million different graduation.
If June is this sort of carefree, unstructured, lazy month, it's not like the whole summer is spent that way. Everyone in New York City has plans. So why are we afraid and why do we feel so unsettled about the kids have worked really hard all year long? Why is it a tragedy if they spend the whole month just sitting on their butts in their apartment?
It's not even, well, first of all, it's because it's a tragedy for me because I will lose my mind. So I think it's really more about the parent, but it's not even like the kids not having the routine. It's the pressure of, before it's even June 5th, I'm already getting emails from where she's going to kindergarten. Submit your forms for fall, or like, do you want to be on this club? Or it's like impossible. Being present is really, it's like society makes it hard to do that. I kind of just want to go on like a airplane mode for like a month. How do I do that?
Well, two things. One, I agree, but I think it's actually deeper. I think there is this rat race of like, use every moment for enrichment. And I think it is really hard to be comfortable / happy that like, you know what, my kids worked hard all year. So this month is like dead. They are just going to lounge on the couch, watch episodes of The Sopranos.
I think it's not about that. I think it's more, it's like selfishly, and it's for me too. Like it's really hard having them home without any structure for days on end.
I think as kids get older, I could be wrong, but I think as kids get older, there's also anxiety among parents that these moments count because, your kid might be, I'm making this up, your kid might be going on a language immersion program for the summer, but this would be a month that they could be enrolled in a class at Columbia. I think it gets a little where take advantage of the moment. I'm just saying, I think that's a reality. Time is our scarcest asset as adults, but I think our poor children who should be carefree and it shouldn't matter. I don't think summer really exists as a carefree, unstructured play for anyone really, unless maybe you're super old school and you are probably an almond mom and you go to, I don't know, the Berkshires or Rhode Island and your kids just have no TVs in the home.
I don't know if Rhode Island is like,
I'm thinking somebody who really like unplugs and goes somewhere that's like, and lives.
I know what you're saying. You're thinking.
I actually had a friend who I remember visiting her house in the Hamptons, and there was not any TV, like not in the entire house. It was not air conditioned. It was very like free flowing, and all the kids
Sounds like
it
hell.
But I guess what I'm saying is,
you love that sweaty book reading time. Like, oh, it smells so good in this hot armpit of a house. So you know what? We would like to read Dr. Seuss for the 50th time. You'd be like, blue. I mean, that just sounds 1/5, 2 fish. Like you pass out. Come on, there's something in between Goldilocks, okay? You could have TVs and stuff, and your kids can still play outside, have fun. Everybody just needs to take the stick out of their ass, calm the fuck down, and allow people to say no.
We need the chill pill pillow.
Yes.
Oh my God, Caroline has a pillow for every occasion.
Yes.
Courtesy of Furbish.
That one might be from Etsy. No, I mean, look, I agree. It's like everybody else, you know what? Everybody needs to calm the fuck down. We're kind of calm. Camps need to calm the fuck down. Wait for your forms. Schools need to calm the fuck down. Your friends who expect you to, say you're going to be at an event in a month from now or dinner or expect so much of your energy, calm the fuck down.
I kind of like that. I think we've come up with a new rival to let them.
Calm the fuck down. It's so true. Like,
but here's the thing.
Oh my God, I need imaginary friends.
Thing. I can't live without my friends. But what I've realized is I gravitate towards the friends that aren't like, I'm not in a group. I gravitate towards one-on-one friendships with people who I can call them. We can make plans. We can not make plans. I may not see them for 3 months. I say I love you when I see them because those are the people I need in my life. The people who, no matter what's going on, when the moment comes, like there's no guilt. It's all love. There's no expectation. But then the flip side is relationships take work. Like if we treated our husbands like that, we'd probably all be divorced. Like it takes work to keep a relationship up.
But how much work? I have friends who, same thing, like I don't have to speak to them every single day or see them every single day. And our friendship is secure enough. And then when we see them, it's great. And I love it. And yes, you're right. Like sometimes it's hard because I'm not going to be the first one to pick up the phone. So when you have two friends that are RSVPs pending, it's hard. because no one's picking up the phone. But
I don't care. See, this is also the weird thing. Like when Doug says I need to work on this, I'm like, but I don't care. Like I'm a really easy friend. So, you know, I'm putting out a PSA to be friends with me. Like I literally will be delighted if I don't see you for a year and then I see you. I don't care if you call me and need something and like,
I'm the same way.
Like 10 times in a row and I've never needed anything from you. I don't care. Like, I guess my point is, I think that real friendship is easy. It should be easy.
It just doesn't need so much nurturing because like life is so hard and complicated. And I just think we should be there as sounding boards for each other. But I think we also have to be more resilient as like humans and like as friends. And like, I think we have to just I think not only do we have to calm the fuck down, but I think we just have to have lower expectations, maybe even for ourselves. I think that's why June is such a hard month because it's like you have to be at every event. You have to get the best photo. You've got to make the album of graduation. You've got to get them a medal
at every event.
You want to look good.
There are photos being taken.
Right. But like maybe we just have to like,
and I want to walk to every event. So I want to look cute and wear something that I can walk all over.
Well, that's really hard. You can't look cute in Dr. Scholl's, you know? You got to carry a pair of shoes. But, you know, like maybe we got to, again, I keep going to this Goldilocks, but I feel like there's got to be some, and I'm not good in the middle. I'm either all or nothing. It's very hard for me to find that. I don't like mediocrity. So I either am going to do it and or I'm not going to do it.
I don't think Goldilocks is mediocrity. I think the power of Goldilocks is it's just right.
Right.
So the porridge is not too hot. It's not too cold. It's just right. So it's by design the perfect place to be.
Yeah. I need to find that. Sometimes I feel like I have it. It's like society just makes me feel like inadequate. Like I feel like I'm doing the best I can. I know when things aren't working. I know when it's time for a couples therapy session, or I know when I need a therapy session, or I know when I need a haircut, or when my kids need a haircut, or like I need to spend more time with my son or my daughter. Like I feel like if I stay in my own lane, I can really get there, but it's society. So our dogs are so annoying. We need to shut the dogs up.
I feel like if I go, there's like an expectation of socializing at the adult level. And sometimes I just can't wrap my brain around it because like it took me missing something important at work to be there, or I have something that I have to go do after. And so it's hard for me to be present also because I went there, whether it's a graduation or an award ceremony or an after school picnic or whatever's being asked of me to do in June. But when I get there, I realize that it's a social event for adults.
And then if you have young kids, it's hell because you're socializing with grown-ups, but you're also supposed to be making sure your kids stay alive. So like, that's really, I hate those kind of events.
Right. But isn't that June?
Yeah, it's really hard. I like caged events. Like if we're going to be in the school and they can't run out, like lawn picnics. No, I cannot do that with young kids because I don't even know what you're saying. I'm like watching them. I guess most people don't watch their kids, so that's easy. I don't know. I think I'm more like a Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld who like, they really don't like people that much. People will be like, you're so social and you're so good with people. And I'm like, yes, but I don't like you.
You know what's so funny is I always say that I'm an introvert or I'm antisocial. And people are always like, oh my God, you love people and you always like, you're so easy to talk to. I don't know. It's a really funny thing. I guess growing up, I had this very black and white feeling about introvert, extrovert. And now it's really clear that everyone's on a spectrum. There's no such thing. We all have, you know, shades of both. And
also, I think we didn't understand the word. I think we always thought extrovert was like a gregarious social person who, like you and I could each be in a party and we could hold our own. It would take a lot of energy for us, but that's not actually an extrovert.
Right. But although I would say I'm really mixed because on the one hand, I really need to recharge alone and I need a lot of downtime and home time and alone time. But at the same time, when I do go somewhere and it takes a lot of effort sometimes to get me out of my alone mode,
your comfort zone,
I do derive energy and feel replenished by being with my girlfriend.
But like usually that's not like a huge event. I feel like for me, it's like having dinner with a friend I haven't seen in a while, right? Like I had dinner, you know, a month ago with a friend from Chicago and another friend who I love. And I hadn't really seen them together in like years. And like it fed our souls, you know, it was like really special. And I did miss like a school benefit for it because I was like, fuck the benefit. Like this is what matters to me.
But it's also where you'd rather be. Like we all at the end of the day are somewhat self-interested. Like I would do the same. I would make that decision any day of the week exactly.
But I
as
just
you made
wanted
it. But
to
some
be there
people
with those
would
people.
do both. Some people would be like, I can come for drinks in the
That's
first
annoying.
course and then
I don't
go.
like that. I'm committed. Also, I
Right.
didn't really, but
I
anyway.
also like one event a night. Doug can really stack things. He
No,
can get
I
to
can't
more
do
than
that.
one place.
Because it's draining for us.
I really peter out.
Because it's draining. You're an introvert. If you're reading in the country club bathroom, you're a fucking introvert. Okay. Okay. So don't fuck with me on you get energized from group events. You do not. You feel good like you did something and you got out of your pajamas, but you're not fucking invigorated. Okay. And you did your hair. All right.
Oh my gosh. So true.
But yeah, because you're like me. We're like very similar and very different. You know what? Actually, should we talk about some dynamic duos?
Yeah, I was just about
you
to
name
say.
You name one, I'll name one. Let's alternate.
Laverne and Shirley.
Romy and Michelle.
Ooh, that's a good one. The Odd Couple.
Beavis and Butthead.
Ooh, Dumb and Dumber.
So good. Who would be who, actually?
I don't remember their names, but I know you
always
do.
confuse Harry and Lloyd. It's really funny. Okay, Harry is Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey is Lloyd. I feel like I would be Lloyd. You'd be Harry. Lloyd's pretty retarded also, but he's kind of mean. He does bad stuff. Like you wouldn't do that. I would definitely I wouldn't, but I would think I would sell Petey to a blind kid.
So am I the guy who licks the hole and his tongue gets stuck?
No, I'm Harry
because I feel like I could do that.
No, I'll tell you why I'm Harry. Because for our podcast, when I was away in Jackson Hole, I was trying to have some good material. And I thought, okay, I was sitting on the chairlift and I said to myself, I kind of want to lick it and just do like the video. And I decided to be a grown up and not do that. And when I got off the chairlift, I said to the instructor, I kind of thought about pulling a Dumb and Dumber and like licking, like, is that real? Like, would your tongue freeze? And he's like, oh yeah, like in 5 seconds. Could you imagine if I just was like,
what happens? Oh my God.
Yeah. So I think I could be him.
Maybe you're both of them.
Maybe you are too.
Maybe I'm like the hot woman they both want.
Oh, Mary Swanson, Samsonite, Swanson, Samsonite. I knew it. The luggage company.
Totally.
Oh yeah. I think we're both of them. I mean.
BNS.
Speaking of both of them, are those skis yours? Both of them? Remember that Dumb and Dumber line? BNS, Ernie and Bert,
Ooh,
Tom and Jerry.
Oh, that's a good one.
Monica and Rachel.
We got to go back to Monica and Rachel.
I mean,
That's
you're
a
Monica.
goodie. Yeah,
no,
for sure.
What do you mean? Like, you're Monica.
Yes.
You're literally Monica. Literally, without the cooking skills, because I don't think you could cook well. And she was a chef.
We want everyone out there to know you're not alone. This is a tough month. We're there for you. Tell us how you're feeling. Tell us how you get through it. Tell us about dynamic duos that inspire you.
And when all else fails, watch like Full House, because somehow I think Uncle Jesse, Uncle Joey, and Danny Tanner have all the answers on parenting. They just know what they're doing. I think that's like kind of what we need to do. Watch an episode of Full House. Seriously, not Fuller House, not good. Full House, good. Fuller House, bad. You want a fun fact before we stop? Full House was filmed at Warner Brothers Studios in front of a live audience, stage 24. And you know what show came next when that ended?
Friends.
Yep, same stage. They ended.
Friends is more recent than Full House. That's so crazy.
So Full House wrapped in May 93. And in September 93, Friends started in the same set.
How do you know all this?
Because I am a TV freak. I also went to Friends set like 3 times. I went to a taping.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I went to a taping. It was the best day of my life. It was really cool. And I got to hang out with Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston. And I wrote them a poem, which I still remember. And I was before Photoshop, and I cut out the cast from People magazine, and I took a photo of me and I cut it and I put it next to them. And oh yeah, and I still remember the poem.
What's the poem? Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Okay. In 1994, 6 friends sat on the couch at Central Perk who knew they'd be in for so much work. Those 6 friends we've come to know as Monica, Phoebe, Chandler, Rachel, and Joe. Monica, who is oh so clean. Joey, who is never mean. Ross, who was on a break, an excuse Style and Rachel was not willing to take. Phoebe with her songs galore, and Chandler who leaves us rolling on the floor. Could he be any funnier? They've made us laugh and cry from the start, and now they lie firmly entrenched in our hearts. Thanks for another year. Love, your biggest fan, Caroline.
Oh my God, I love you. That is
Biggest loser ever.
That is the best. And you know what, guys? I am present in the moment. I'm not worrying about what was before. I'm not worrying about what's coming next. I'm not worrying about what to have for dinner or what work deliverable I have. I'm just in the moment with Caroline, feeling the love for this beautiful girl and the poem she wrote for friends. And
I love you, Eva. So there you go. Just write a good poem for friends. But that was pretty good, right? I was in freshman year of high school. I was a little old to do that, but
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was fun. I worked on it with my aunt. I remember it took a long time, but it's pretty crazy. I remember that. That was like 25 years ago, 24 years ago.
See, so you know what? If your kid wants to spend the month of June before camp starts at home watching TV, they could end up being a famous podcaster.
Yes. And by the way, you know what? My love of Friends from an early age, I learned that you can get whatever you want if you work for it. I literally said to my dad, this is going to be their last season. I need to see a taping. You got to help me. Dad's not entertainment. Somehow, he figured out one of his partners, knew Courtney Cox, whatever. It happened. And I went. So
wait, how hard did you have to work for that? I'm confused.
I think my dad had to work really hard to figure that out. Thanks, La. It was my dad. But I told him he was afraid of me. So that was good. Good parenting tip, La. For parenting tips, La knows what to do. Just kidding. All right. On that note, go watch a Full House episode, a Friends episode, watch some TV, have a tequila, and we're out. We're going to mic drop.
Mic drop.
Bam.
Thanks for listening to Mic'd and Medicated. We hope you loved listening to us.
But even if you didn't, we have zero shame. So still subscribe to our podcast, leave a comment, and a 5-star review.
And follow us on Instagram and slide into our DMs because they are wide open.
This show was created in New York City and hosted and produced by
Eva Heyman
and Caroline Leventhal. And mic drop.